A big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
Morning everybody, fantastic to see you all again. So I've got pebbles today and we're going to do a little bit of scouting just before autumn and all the autumn colours arrive. I'm in a place called Goit Valley, which is not far away from home. We often come walking here together, and autumn's got to be the best time of year for photographers, landscape photographers, and this is a beautiful place. It's got all sorts of different types of trees, and there's a few compositions that I've sort of scouted out before but I want to spend a little bit more time looking at. So I thought I'd bring you along on a scouting trip. We're probably not going to get any great shots, but I will take some shots, you never know. It's been foggy overnight, but the fog's lifted now. We've got those cobwebs with all the sort of water on, which look brilliant. So going to go and see if we can find something, and yeah, just enjoy the morning because it's so peaceful, and I like it when it's all wet like this. It's fantastic. So I need to go and get my bag and then we'll go, Pebs. Is that okay? Good. You stay there. Come on then. Come on. So you can obviously hear the stream here, which, because it's rained overnight, it's really sort of raging at the moment. And it was one of the places that I wanted to sort of check out, and I've just been down and had a look a little bit. And although it looks quite pretty, the problem is that there's a lot of these rhododendron bushes, which they're not native plants in the UK. They were brought over a long time ago and they've sort of spread everywhere. And this was an old sort of estate that's now sort of dilapidated, but these rhododendrons have taken over and they just don't look fantastic. And they don't really look great in the autumn. So, you know, there's rhododendrons up the side of the river, so I don't think that's going to make a fantastic shot, even though the stream looks really good. So rather than wasting much time here, I'm just going to carry on and see what else I can find. But it's, yeah, it must have rained really hard in the night. Come on, Pebs. So it's really interesting. It's the 25th of September, and you know, a lot of the silver birch now have turned quite significantly. And that's the thing with autumn, especially in the UK, and I know it's different all over the world, but in the UK what we tend to do is we almost have like two autumns. So we have like an early autumn where it's good to get out and get those early colours of the silver birch, the bracken's starting to change, and then a later autumn, you know, where your beech trees and the oak trees start to never look fantastic, oak trees, but this, you know, the leaves start to go brown, and that adds to the whole colour mix. So it's a good idea to understand your trees, understand how they turn in your area so that you can be prepared and you're not caught like this, which is just, it surprised me actually, that they're so different. In fact, I'm going to the Lake District this weekend specifically to go and take the silver birch because I always go there too late, and I'm worried that I'm still going to be too late even though I'm going to be just the end of September. Well, there's some more silver birch down there. So there's a lot of trees, right, Pebbles? So there's a lot of trees around about like this. Oak tree here, mostly oak trees that are just gnarly and just look fantastic. The problem is that it's finding one that's got a sort of an even background, or just the compositionally looks good. You know, from a composition point of view, the sort of arms and the feet of this look great. But you know, again, it's one of those rhododendrons in the background there. It looks a little bit dark to the bottom left-hand side. I can't really get an angle on it that changes that. If I go around there, well, I can show you actually. If I just move around here, you can see that the shape of the tree changes. So actually, that's not too bad. But I'd need to go a bit higher to sort of shoot down on it, because at getting the sky in, but I'm just looking behind me. I can actually probably get to a point where I can shoot down on it if I go up on the wall behind me there. So I think what I'm going to do is try that. I'm going to try and walk up on the wall behind me and see if I can get to a point where I can shoot down on it, because actually it does open up a little bit, and there's some colours in the background as well, so even though the oak's not changed, this is quite good. But today, again, the whole point is trying to find shots that I can come back to really quickly when the colours are better. Okay, so I've come up higher and I actually can get a shot on this tree. Now I don't think it's amazing. Everything's just green at the moment, but the composition's pretty good. The only problem is that there's leaves here from what I think is a beech tree, which is going to change a strong colour, but they're on the top right hand side, and I think they're going to unbalance it. At the moment they're green, so they sort of blend in a little bit, but they come down. And then there's some more, I think it's a horse chestnut tree on the left hand side, and that's coming in from the left hand side. But the tree itself looks fantastic. It's so picturesque. There's not a lot of depth to the image though, so there's just this one tree and then nothing else. And you know, I like some in shots, woodland shots. I like depth to my images. I like that, you know, the viewer to be able to linger and see other things as they look at the shot. It's definitely worth a shot. I'm going to put a polarizer on, shoot with a polarizer f8, because I only care about getting the tree in focus. And you know, make sure it's on a tripod. This is going to be quite a long exposure. I suspect it's probably going to be half a second, something like that, but there's no wind, so it should be fine. Okay, so this is the main shot that I wanted to take. You can see that I've got the main big oak tree here, and just going over this other oak tree, and there's a stream in the bottom which looks fantastic, just sort of S-curving through the bottom of the scene. I've taken this shot so many times before and never had the right conditions. I still haven't got the right conditions today, but I wanted to come back again because I want to see how the colours are changing, so I'm going to try and come back every few days because it's not that far away from my house. I can walk Pebbles, so it's fairly easy to do. And I just keep taking photos of slightly different angles just to see if I can get it right. Now, if you looked on my Instagram recently, you probably saw me post this shot. And a lot of people said, yeah, well, that's fantastic as it is, you don't need to change it. But for me, it just wasn't how I wanted it. My mind is this to be a little bit more mysterious, so I need to get some fog. The problem is I've never seen fog in this valley. So I need some real dense fog to drop into the valley. And then there's a few issues. So on the left hand side here, there's some heavy undergrowth, and there's another tree which doesn't really work in the shot. And then on the right hand side, there's a tree. So when I do quite a wide shot, then I get that tree there, which again doesn't work in the shot. So I'm taking a landscape shot, but I'm probably going to crop it into a square crop. But I'll also take something in portrait as well, and I'm also polarizing it as well. The polarization is to try and get the stream to stop having that reflection. However, I'm not sure how well that will work or may not work, so again I'm testing it just to see what it's like with and without polarization. I'll show you both shots as well. Oh, it's fantastic, just brilliant. The sun looks like it's going to come out, so that'll totally ruin it, because with the sun there'll be so many bright spots, and woodland's so difficult like that. This is fantastic. Oh, it doesn't get much better than a morning like this. It really doesn't. So another fantastic thing that you can do in autumn, well, you can do it in any season actually, is have a project. So autumn, there's so much to take a photo of, and you can get to a location and you can think, oh, that's great, that's great, that's great, and then you can't quite decide. If you have a project, so say your project was just photographing streams in the autumn, or ferns in the autumn, or birch trees in the autumn, or just abstract autumn or something like that, then that can give you photography a little bit of direction for what can be often quite difficult decisions to make when you get to a location. So, you know, think about a project, maybe you have 2 projects, and then just try and take some photos related to that project. And maybe you can do a book on them or just print some small photos out and stick them on the wall. It's a really good way of just trying to improve your photography because you're trying to tie things together. You may be looking for things that you perhaps otherwise look at, and it can definitely help out. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the studio and print some of these photos, because what I like to do is print my photos out so that I can see them, live with them, and then when I come back and get that great shot, I can have seen it on the wall. I can think what changes I need to make to it. Where's Pebbles gone? Pebbles! So I've printed some of these out now, and as you can see in front of me here, I've been there before in different conditions, and I actually forgot that I'd taken it in the snow, which is this shot here. I'd completely forgotten about it, but when I was looking back through my winter shots from this year, I found this, and I actually really like this. Now it's interesting that these are the 2 that I've shot more recently. So this is the one that I shot today, and this was one that I shot about a week ago, the one that I shared on Instagram. Now I probably edited these slightly differently, but what I wanted to try and do is this square crop. I quite like this, but the problem is I've got this area here, this dark area, which you don't really see on the snowy picture or this one. Well, actually this one's probably a similar composition, but even this one is tighter in than this one, and probably a little bit further to the left as well. But this area here, so the dark area here, the dark area down here, and you can't quite see it on the snowy picture, that's the area that's a little bit difficult. And that's why I want fog, because I think fog will just sort of soften that a little bit. But it's a tricky composition, because if I look at this one that I took today, I really like that because I like these branches up here. And I think when the colours start changing in the background, this will really start to stand out. But I like the verticals because I just think it looks good as a vertical, especially in this snowy one here, and the branches are good. But then, you know, if I do a wider vertical one like this one and have more room above it, it doesn't quite work, because then I get the sky in as well. To do the vertical like these 2, I've got to crop in a little bit tighter to avoid getting the sky in. But again, if it's foggy, then I think I'll be able to do that. So I'll be able to get a wider vertical shot, which will be probably the best one, where I get all the limbs of the oak tree. So they're the sort of things that I'm thinking about when I'm taking the shot, and then when I compare, and I'll put these up on my notice board, and you know, just leave them out, probably leave them out on my table behind to begin with, and just keep looking at them and spending a bit of time looking at them. Because you can learn a lot from just looking at prints. I find it's just a better way of understanding how you can improve your photography. Okay, well that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. Before I go though, I just want to say thanks to my sponsor, which is Squarespace, for this video. And as you know, I use Squarespace for my website. They're fantastic. It means that I can make changes really quickly. They've got a fantastic support as well. And it's really easy to change as well. I've got loads of templates. Just go and take a look at them. And when you're ready to do a trial, you can go to squarespace.com and you can set up a trial. And if you're ready to then purchase, then you can get 10% off with the offer code Nigel, or type in squarespace.com/Nigel. Okay, that's it for this week. I'm off to the Lake District now, and by the time you're watching this on Sunday, I will be in the Lake District, hopefully recording the next 2 Sunday's videos, which will be in the field as well. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next Thursday probably, I might publish one on Thursday or maybe Wednesday. Bye.